It is Friday, November 22nd, 2024. This is another off-season edition of Baseball Today. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I'm Chris Rose, producer Dan along for the ride as well. Maybe I look a little extra smiley today. That's because the Rose family is complete once again, as our youngest son has made his venture home from college for the Thanksgiving holiday. It feels good.
I love that for you. Nice
Yeah.
full house.
Mm.
Holidays are here. It's actually getting a little chilly,
Mm-hmm.
this weekend. So you guys can huddle up around that massive fireplace that you have. This is
Sure.
great. This
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
great.
I know. The only bad thing is that this time of year, we only get to see each other twice a week. It's kind of a
I know.
bummer. Oh, yeah.
I know. Well, we could go out to dinner and stuff and
Oh,
like hang out
good
off
point.
screen.
Good point. Yeah, when
Yeah, we
Brady
should
goes
do
back
that
to
actually.
school. Yeah, we should. We should.
Okay.
That's a really good call. I like that.
Just me
Um,
and you. No wives. Boys' night out.
oh, boy.
Yeah.
Wait, so I get to hang with you, Stafford, and Clausen?
Yeah, let's go.
Ooh, I'm
Go. Although
in.
we always bring our wives, so we're
Oh,
like
yeah.
people. You know what? People used to like frown upon that within like the guys circle. Like, oh, you can't hang out with your wives. Like, no, we enjoy it.
Yeah. No.
What's
Well,
wrong
I
with
mean,
that?
nothing. Nothing.
Every
Actually,
once in a while, we can go. The boys out on the town. Sure.
absolutely. I'm in. I'm in. The reason
Love
I'm
your
wearing
wife, people.
I'm wearing a Guardians cap is because we had awards week, and so Stephen Vogt, shout out to you and all 8 of the award winners. So why don't we get going with pretty good first season for Shohei Ohtani in Los Angeles. He strikes it rich. He wins the World Series, and oh yeah, he added a third MVP to the treasure chest. Shohei?
Yeah, I'm just taking, I think this MVP is, I'm just representing the Dodgers. It was a complete team effort. I wouldn't have been able to receive this award if it weren't for my teammates. Obviously, if my teammates weren't there, we didn't play as a team, we would not have even got to the playoffs or won the World Series. So for me, again, I'm just taking this as, I'm representing the team receiving this award.
That, of course, the voice of his interpreter, Matt Hidaka. First of all, did you think that there was going to be any way that Shohei could have won the MVP strictly without pitching and as a DH?
No, because I think I even said that prior to the season. Hey, this is your chance if you're in the NL to win an MVP award because Shohei is going to be there, dominating for the foreseeable future. But I mean, he had an incredible season, and I think the magnitude of a 50-50 season can't be kind of understated. And I know people are going to say, well, stolen bases are up and they don't mean as much anymore. I disagree. I think they mean just as much. Are they a little bit easier to come by now? Sure, but we've never seen anything like this. 50-50 is a true benchmark, and for him to be able to do that while also, leading the NL in runs scored, homers, RBI, slugging percentage, OPS. I mean, I don't know. I feel like whenever you doubt him in the very, smallest way, like he's just going to continue to prove you wrong. It seems like on day in and day out, he was doing something really special. So I was a little shocked that, he put up the type of numbers that he put up, but I don't think you should be shocked by Shohei anymore. Just, you can't be that way.
And part of it, I think, is that there was nobody like a Bobby Witt that was that significantly like Francisco Lindor had a great year, an
Yeah.
unbelievable year, and was the catalyst of an enormous 4-month turnaround that they had in Queens. But his overall numbers were just
Sure.
dwarfed by Shohei Ohtani. So if there was somebody, like I said, like a Bobby Witt Jr., who had an amazing year, 30-30 for the second time, led his team to the playoffs, for the first time in 7 years, then I could see, or 9 years, I guess it was. Nice math, Rose. Then I could see it possibly going a different direction. But because there was nobody that statistically pushed Shohei the way that anybody did, maybe an Aaron Judge, who, of course, was a unanimous winner in the American League, possibly. But
I think Aaron Judge wins it over Shohei if it's a league-wide
ooh,
MVP this year. I do.
I think so too. But I would love to have seen that vote. I mean, I
Yeah.
think it would have been
The 50-50 thing looms large in people's heads. I promise you
totally.
that. But I think overall, offensively, I'd give it to Judge. And the fact that he obviously played the field means something too.
So the bigger question we've got with Shohei, this is now his third MVP award, and that's pretty high territory. There's only 9 other guys that have done that now.
That's crazy.
He has to play another 3 full seasons to qualify for a spot in Cooperstown. So let's just say he's an average baseball player, both as a pitcher and as a hitter over the next 3 years. Is there any question he's getting into Cooperstown? How much more does he have to accomplish?
I think that he's probably already there just because of those 3 MVP awards. I mean, are the rest of those 9 guys in the Hall of Fame? I'm assuming yes. Is there somebody that didn't make it?
There's a bunch that haven't, but the only guys.
How is that?
Well, first of all, 2 of them are not even eligible, Trout and Pujols.
Okay.
There you go. The other 8, going all the way back from oldest to most recent, are Jimmy Fox, Joe DiMaggio, Roy Campanella, Yogi Berra, Mickey Mantle, Mike Schmidt, and then the 2 Barry Bonds and A-Rod.
Okay, so Barry Bonds, A-Rod, not in the Hall of Fame. 2 guys aren't eligible Hall of Fame. The rest of those guys are in the Hall of Fame.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, he's in. He's in. I mean, I think, you know my stance on the Hall of Fame. The impact that Shohei has had on the game as well, I think, needs to be talked about. And part of his legacy, but the overall numbers, he hasn't had the counting stats. 225 homers. The benchmark's 500 homers, and you can talk about all those counting stats. I think he'll eventually get there because obviously he's playing for so much longer. But if you're talking about his career ending in 3 years, I think the 3 MVPs and the the non-steroid part of his tenure, I think he's going to be a unanimous Hall of Famer. I do.
By the way, do you think they would change the voting rules if, God forbid, something happened and he couldn't play baseball? Do you think they would change? I think that's the better question because I think he's going to continue to have some numbers that push him well over 350, 400 homers. At the end of the day, we're going to be like, what are we even doing discussing this? Like, this is,
So if his career ended right now, that's the question, I guess, now.
Yeah.
They're pretty, they don't change rules very often over there at the Hall of Fame voting. They are very, they have their ways. In my mind, yeah, he already is. Again, like this, we're talking about impact, 7 years of dominance, 3 MVP awards. I think that there shouldn't be a Hall of Fame of baseball without Shohei Ohtani in it.
What is the word fame short for? Famous. Now, it doesn't mean that everybody who plays baseball that turns into a famous person needs to be in Cooperstown. But when they have changed the history of the sport, where we are talking one of one, where guys, I mean, how many guys have had a bigger influence on the sport than Shohei Ohtani? I think it's a very, very small number.
And he's done something that nobody else has ever done, Chris. Like, the way he is offensively and the way he pitches, it just has not been done in the history of the game. Maybe you can talk about in the 1800s, but I don't even think then. So he has to be in the Hall of Fame.
We just left a little graphic up there. Do you think that he's done enough to already make it into Cooperstown? There you go. Leave us a comment. We love to hear from you. There's a lot of good baseball brains out there and thought processes. Some of you might be against it. You can explain why. No harm, no foul. So go ahead. We want you to be a contributor to this show as well. Speaking of great shows, Blitzball Battle 5, it continued on. It's every Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. Anybody remember what happened on Thursday? Blitzball Battle 5. Woogas, hook, line, sinkers.
Yeah.
2 really good teams without a win.
Exactly right. That's the storyline. Who is going to come out victorious? Because both these teams have the potential to do a lot of damage. Obviously, we know the history with sinkers. Woogas are a new team. Dan Rourke's a new man. That's what we keep hearing, but we haven't seen it yet translate to on-field performance.
I'm going to take Woogas because look at old man Dan right behind me right now. I don't know what he's writing. For me, it's always going to be hard to pick against Jimmy Norp.
I believe in old men. I'm going to have to pick sinkers.
Well, there's no country for old men around here. Let's go Woogas. Coming your way later today from the Warehouse Blitzball Battle 5. That game has actually already been released, so if you haven't seen it, go to our Warehouse Games channel and check it out. Very, very good. Well,
it's a great movie you referenced right there, by the way.
Yeah, No Country
for Old Men. That's a freaky movie.
It is freaky. I've seen it like 3 times during the day. I still shit my pants. It's so scary.
Sometimes I want to give you that cattle thing.
All right, that's enough. We got to move on.
Yeah, that's a little far.
All right, so just like Shohei, Aaron Judge, a unanimous MVP in the American League, a runaway winner, and now he joins the group of multi-time MVPs.
You know, it's funny. I was talking to Harper a lot this season. I was telling him, man, I'm gonna try to catch up to you on these MVPs here, man. But you know, he's saying hopefully he can stay a couple ahead of me, which I think he'll do, man. It's no, it means a lot. Just a lot of the hard work in the offseason, during the season, the ups and downs throughout it, and just a constant support from my teammates, the fans in New York, just everybody to help me get to this spot.
I'd love to know how often he and Harper talk. Is it only when, like, he's on first base, which isn't very often because he's usually jogging around the bases? Or do they actually text a lot? We gotta
text every once in a while. Like, those guys who have, all the fame and the accolades. I feel like there's like kind of like an inner circle of ball players at the top. I do.
So what do we call that text group? Like some people like labeling their text group. What studs?
MVP with like a couple Z's, MVPs.
Yeah.
Like the boys.
Oh, I like that.
I don't know.
MVPs.
I was never a part of it, unfortunately, Chris. I was very mediocre, but hey, man, look at me now.
That's true. Now you're in a Baseball Today chat, and it's illuminating. The question I've got about Judge is let's draw the line of demarcation here for discussion purposes. 1969, when they broke it up into multiple divisions. Okay, you didn't just have 10 teams in the American League and 10 teams in the National League or whatever. We broke it up into divisions. So this means for this discussion, we're not using Ruth or Gehrig or DiMaggio or Mantle. Is Aaron Judge the second biggest, most impactful, greatest Yankee other than Derek Jeter?
See, because you use words like that, it's different, okay? Like,
well, how do you want to take it?
Well, because as a ball player, we're just talking straight up ball player. I don't think there's anyone like Judge that has a clean record, and like offensively, he is. I like 3-4-6 in it, right? 300 average, 400 on base percentage, 600 slug, and that's if you do that for a year, you're a god. Okay, Judge is almost doing that for his career. In fact, he is 4.6 in it. The batting average is sitting at 288 for his career. I think he's a better baseball player than Derek Jeter was. I do. And I think that, but you said impactful, and you said, there's a lot of things that Derek Jeter did that I think probably make him the favorite for like best Yankees since then. I think a lot of Yankee fans would say that, the championships, and this is stupid to say, but like, the dating roster that he's had, I think I think people think of it. They do.
Dating, like, you went back to the social media where they had somebody at each position.
That's it's one of the greatest graphics of all time. The cultural impact that Derek Jeter had, I think it probably outshines, what Aaron Judge has done. Because if you go around and you ask people casuals, people that aren't really baseball fans, like, who's your favorite baseball player? They still name Derek Jeter a majority of the time. Like, this guy had a cultural impact. He won a bunch, which, we can debate all show long about what that really means in the sport of baseball. I think Judge is a better baseball player than Derek Jeter, but if you ask me, like, overall, like, Yankee-ness, I think, he probably sits behind Jeter. And so far, like, I think still maybe he's closing the gap, but I still think there's a wide margin between those two as far as just like complete impactfulness.
Yeah, but remember, a couple weeks ago, we asked on this show about whether or not Aaron Judge's presumed second MVP would mean anything based on his postseason, I wouldn't say failures, but just not living up to who he is overall.
Of course, people are going to point to that too. People will say, well, because he hasn't done that, maybe we talk about like Mariano Rivera. I'm sure people will argue that he had a bigger impact than Aaron Judge. And you know what? I honestly, maybe him and Aaron Judge are close. But I think that as far as overall, like, offensive players, there's nobody that's been like Judge. But we're talking a grander scheme here.
Yeah. Producer Dan is a huge Yankee fan. He just dropped in our little personal chat that Judge is nowhere near Jeter until he wins, not even at A-Rod yet without a ring. Dan, I'm sorry. You got to
believe Dan.
You got to
don't put anything in
drinking. Stop that. It's not healthy.
Because, sweet haircut, but bad right there. No.
So there's a lot of people that will actually probably fall in line of that sort of thinking that I'm going to put Posada, I'm going to put Bernie Williams, I'm going to put folks, when you're just talking about baseball ability, there is no better Yankee over the last since Mantle than Aaron Judge. And you're right. Don't put Derek Jeter in his category. They're not the same player.
No,
Derek
as far as
Jeter
ball
was
player,
a
no.
wonderful, wonderful baseball player for 2 decades, did a ton of the right things, played exceptionally well, more than 3,000 hits, could run, had a little bit of pop, all that sort of stuff. But when you're talking about stepping into the batter's box and being able to change a game, I'm not talking about Mr. November and all that sort of stuff. I'm talking about during the regular season. Okay? That's what we're talking about right now. There is nobody better than Aaron Judge when wearing pinstripes over the last 50 years. I think it's that simple as an everyday baseball player.
I do too. I'm on the same page as you. I'm people always say I'm a Judge hater, and I'm not. Like, I think Judge is an incredible person and perfect for New York, and he's obviously a hell of a ball player. I just said he would win MVP over Shohei, which is something that, I hold Shohei in a huge regard. But yeah, look at this. Look at the numbers. I mean,
right. And not to smack down at Derek Jeter, but he was statistically a below average shortstop. 14 of his 20 seasons, he had a negative defensive WAR. I don't think people argue that
they don't argue that anymore. They don't argue that anymore.
No, they don't. I mean, the statistics are there to prove it.
Yeah, I'm like this on that. Like, I watched Jeter play a lot, and I don't think he was a liability.
No, but he wasn't. Listen, he was the all-encompassing ball player because everything that came along with him was so good, right? Intangibles, leadership, all that stuff that you can't metrically figure out. And that's real stuff to me, even though you can't see it. Like, it has a place in the game. It has a place in sports, and few did it better than him.
Now you got me looking something up.
What do you want to look up?
I'm looking up Jamie Carroll.
Jamie Carroll?
Defense. Yeah, he's like he actually taught me so much about baseball and infield. I just want to see like where he ranks as far as.
Okay, well, I'm going to go do this, and you come back and you let us know.
Okay.
We are, as you can tell on this show, always driven for the search for better. So when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate is not to search at all. Don't search, just match with the help from Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform. More than 350 million global monthly visitors. That's according to Indeed data. And a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates in the fastest way possible. Ditch all the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling and screening and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. And Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree that Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites. That's according to a recent Indeed survey. And listeners of this show are going to get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/baseball. So just head on over Indeed.com/baseball right now. Support this show by saying you heard about Indeed on Baseball Today. Indeed.com/baseball. Terms and conditions apply. If you need to hire, Indeed is the right place to go do it. Any luck?
I think Jamie Carroll, if you talk to anybody, they would say, I want that guy. I want the ball hit to him. Like, his defensive stats are like, okay. They're not great. But I would. So, take that for what it's worth.
Okay. We continue on. Congrats to the Cy Young winners. In the National League, Chris Sale, 6 times he was in the top 5. He finally is the biggest dog of the lot. An amazing first year with the Atlanta Braves. Fellow left-hander Tarik Skubal, a unanimous choice in the American League. He definitely is the unanimous choice when it comes to how to celebrate, because it was his 28th birthday on Wednesday, the day that he received the Cy Young Award, and got a nice little gift from his wife and a birthday chant from, I believe, family members and friends.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Tarik. Happy birthday to you. You want your car wet or not? Let's go!
For those of you that are joining us audio only, got a champagne shower from the boys and also got a new car from his wife, which I think was kind of cool. That's nice little 28th birthday. Usually 28, not a memorable birthday. I believe it was for Tarik Skubal. That's kind of cool.
Where was that at? Because I just looked at the background, little palm tree. Was that in Arizona or was that like in the valley somewhere? It looked like the valley to me, but maybe Arizona.
Yeah, I don't know where that was. We'll have to find out. We'll get some words. Which winner surprised you more, Sale or Skubal?
Oh, Sale, for sure. I mean, wait, are you talking about like both of these guys were going to win? There's no surprise.
No, what I'm
talking about before the season?
Yes.
Oh, Sale. I don't think there's any doubt. The whole story of Sale this year is awesome for a bunch of different reasons. Number one, we hadn't seen him stay healthy for a long time. I got to see him up close and personal when he was running off those top 5 finishes, top 6 finishes, and so I know what kind of pitcher he is. He's a unicorn, a guy that it was hard to prepare for him because you just didn't see guys like him. The arm angle, the crossbody, all these things. But then, since 2020, like he just hasn't been healthy. He hasn't been able to stay on the field, hasn't been the same. And I think that trade is going to go down as one of the best trades that Anthopoulos has pulled off. And he's pulled off some doozies. Let me tell you that. That guy, if you're going to trade with him, rethink what you're doing. Vaughn Grissom goes to the Red Sox. The Braves had no use for Vaughn Grissom. They'd basically shown that in how they had used him in their organization. He goes to the Red Sox. The Braves send over the Red Sox sent over $17 million to the Red Sox. And I didn't know this, but I was researching this. So there was another $10 million owed to Chris Sale, 10.5. That 10 was actually deferred until 2039. So they could have only had to pay Chris Sale $500,000 this year. That's what the Braves would have had to pay him this year. And that would have been great. And then Chris Sale would have been, halfway through the season. Maybe they try to extend him there. And he's like, actually, I'm having a pretty good season, so no. But instead, Anthopoulos, 2 days after trading for him, signs him, extends him. And the foresight of that is incredible. So, I love the story. I love him going there. There was some pitch usage flopping. He threw his slider more than his fastball for the first time in his career this year. And the slider is a pitch for him that it's not just one pitch. It's like 5 different pitches. He adds and subtracts so well with that that you can really just, like I said, make it a bunch of different pitches. And they just found a way to keep him on the field. He credited the trainers and the pitching staff, or the pitching coaches, in changing some things in his process to allow him to stay on the field. So there was a lot that had to change for Chris Sale to get to this point, but he looked like his old self this year, which is really cool to see.
Well, let's start with the simple stuff. He was 36 and hadn't he hadn't had this many innings since 2017.
That's crazy.
I mean, really, if you thought
7 years ago.
If you thought that Chris Sale was going to have a good year, you thought maybe 25 starts at best. You were like, just get us through that. And then whatever comes along with it, because he hadn't pitched that great. There were moments of
a 3 starter. That'd be great. Sit in the middle of the rotation, be that guy.
Not over 6 WAR guy. I mean, that's not what you expected. And I thought it was awesome to see him rebound. He seemed at such ease this year. There were times earlier in his career where he was a hothead, and I'm not just talking about cutting up jerseys or, bashing televisions. I think more than that. But this year he seemed just like he felt like he was in a better place. And I don't know exactly why that was, but maybe it had something to do with being down in the South and being in Atlanta. I don't know. But he looked like the monster that we used to see early in his career on the South side of Chicago. So that is shocking. The Skubal stuff did not surprise me at all. In fact, one of the few predictions I've gotten right on this show over the last few years was saying that Tarik Skubal is going to win the AL Cy Young at the beginning of the year. I don't know if it makes up for my Braves over Blue Jays World Series prediction, but I will pat myself on the back for that one. Part of the reason I made it was because of his return in 2023. He was coming off his second major arm surgery. I believe he had one in college and then He had one in 2022. But when he came back for the back half of 2023, he essentially pitched half a season, made 15 starts, had an ERA plus of 155, 11.5 Ks per 9. He was starting to look sharp. So I was thinking to myself, my God, if he's looking this good when it's just the middle of the season, wait until he has an entire offseason where he's not rehabbing, where he's kind of grown into his stuff and just at his physical peak performance. I really felt like he had a chance. I wasn't just taking a flyer. I really felt like he had a chance to do it, and he did it, and kind of sucks that he's in my division because that dude is a monster. He seems like he's everything you want in a top-of-the-line rotation, dude.
And tick, tick, tick for the old Tigers because they need to start trying to extend this guy.
Yeah, so what does he have, 2 more years left?
Yes, he's got next year and the year after that, and it's especially coming off a Cy Young year. Are you going to negotiate with him now? Like, you better start, dude.
Unless they offer him, so he'll be 30 when he gets to free agency. He'll be Corbin Burns at that point, right?
Yeah, I mean, he just turned. Yeah, you mentioned he just had a birthday. Just turned 28.
Okay, so I mean, Burns is 30 right now. Has a Cy Young on his resume. Doesn't have, I believe, the injury history that Skubal does. So, and we're talking over $200 million for him. So that's where the discussion has to start. 2 years from free agency right now for him, I would think.
Yeah, but so get close to that, approach that, and say, here's some financial security now. You don't have to wait 2 years. Go do it.
Yeah.
You just got a new car. He's hurting a little bit in the bank account. Go give him some.
Yeah, I think somehow he'll still piece it together.
I think he'll be okay.
Rookies of the year, Luis Gil for the New York Yankees really did a great job keeping that rotation afloat while Garrett Cole missed the first half of the season. Paul Skenes, your winner in the National League. Look at how much joy that honor brought him.
Of the 2024 National League Jackie Robinson Rookie of the Year winner is Paul Skenes. Congratulations, Paul.
Okay, that is the same exact look I had on my face when they called me into the dentist's office for my crown. Chris Rose? Yep, that's me. Dude, you just won Rookie of the Year in a highly competitive field against the 2 Jacksons. You've got freaking Livy Dunn sitting next to you, and she wants to smooch you, and you're like, I mean, come on, man. Give me something.
It is funny. I think Paul Skenes has way bigger plans than Rookie of the Year. I honestly think that's what it is. People could say,
did he have bigger plans that night that I didn't know about? Like,
I think I really do feel that way. There are some guys, Chris, that just think that way. They think differently. Would you or I be stoked in that situation? Yeah, I just think this guy, he wants to win Cy Youngs. He wants to win World Series. He wants to sign the massive deal. He's got so much more on his horizon. I also think he's still figuring out who he is and like when you have that much of a following and you have had this impact on the game and you're the face of a franchise, I feel like you have to figure out what kind of person you're going to be to like the public. Like you have to have a persona almost. And some guys can just be themselves. But some guys are kind of like calculated with it. I think he's figuring out like who he wants to be. I don't think in like the coming years we're gonna get that from him. I think eventually he'll feel like comfortable in being, whoever he wants to be, and I think we'll see a different reaction. So I think he's young. He's got his eyes set on bigger things. And then maybe he's doesn't like to like kiss and tell. He's like this.
Now, how would if that had been you and Olivia?
You don't like that?
Oh, I do. Michelle hates it. It. Anything in public.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. So I could tell that would be the opposite. I would go in for the, hey, I just won Rookie of the Year kiss. And Michelle would be like, get the fuck away.
Do you think it's different girlfriend and wife, though?
Ooh. No, I think
not to put a hex on anything. I'm just saying, like, there's a difference there.
There is a difference, but I think just for our relationship, it would have been the same reaction. What about for you guys back in the day?
Yeah, I would have kissed Olivia. Yeah.
Yeah, you would have gone in.
I would have, yeah. And I would have smiled, I think. But we're different. Let Paul Skenes be Paul Skenes, dude.
Well, we do have to, right, as much I'm making fun of the situation just because it felt so awkward, and, Livy Dunn is this social media phenomenon that happens to be an amazing athlete herself. Like, I think we forget that, what a wonderful gymnast she is, because of the persona that she has, and it's just so different than Paul, but he seems like a good kid and all that sort of stuff. That's not what we're talking about here today. The question I wanted to get to,
I think he wants to be like the strong, silent type. That's what
Maybe.
he's going for right now. He's like,
Maybe
you know what?
that's
Let me be
fine.
like a John Wayne character. Eventually, he might change. Yeah.
Do you think that Paul Skenes gets an extension offer over the next year? And if not, is it a huge mistake by the Pirates?
I bet he does get an offer. I bet he turns it down. It would be a huge mistake if they let him go. I think the Pirates have seen multiple pitchers come into that franchise and then leave and become stars other places. And I don't think they want that anymore. So I don't know what the deal is with ownership, what they're thinking, but what they should be thinking is, yes, I'm not only going to lock up Paul Skenes, I'm going to lock up Jared Jones as well, and I'm going to start a freaking core around these guys because these guys are marketable. Like, I think Jared Jones is very marketable as well. Like, let's get this guy on the field. Let's get him healthy. Good looking dude. Let's create something with this three-headed monster that we have in the rotation. Like, let's go do that. So I think they'd be silly not to offer the extension. I bet they will. I bet he turns it down. Did they get one done? I think is a question.
Well, so
this early on they have a chance. They have a chance.
They do. I mean, the number would probably have to be 200 at this point, I think.
Yeah, that's crazy. 1 year in the show, 200 mil. What is that over? Over how many years?
Well, it depends. I mean,
because you have to go. He's got 5 more years of just straight up control. So you're gonna buy out. Let's just say we'll give you the 5 years of control and 2 years of free agency. Like, there's no way they're gonna tack on club options. He would never allow that.
No.
Those free agent years are going to be valued at $40 million a year.
Right. Well, it still gets him out into the market at age 29.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they would have to do.
And at least one arm surgery later, probably.
Maybe not $40 million. Maybe that's a high number for that, but
so
somewhere close to that.
With Pittsburgh, they have given out long-term extensions over each of the last 3 years. Brian Hayes got a $70 million one. Brian Reynolds got 106, almost 107 in 2023 after, things had gotten out publicly that he wanted out.
Yeah.
He's asking for a trade. Well, they ended up saying, no. You're staying. You're a vital part of what we're doing. And then Mitch Keller,
80?
He got 77, I believe, is what he got. But that's small potatoes compared to what we're talking about. We're talking about maybe double the largest.
Go sign this superstar. Are you kidding me? Like, we talk about impact. Like, guys that have that it factor that can put freaking butts in the seat. There is just not that many guys around baseball that do that. Paul Skenes is one of them. You have him. He just showed that he can do what the year that he had was obviously fantastic. So he's shown that he can do it at the major league level. Go, lock this dude up. Like, give fans a reason to go buy a Paul Skenes jersey, to go buy season tickets. Like, you have to spend money to make money. That's business 101, man.
I hear you. I think, unfortunately, it's probably not going to happen. Hang in there, Pittsburgh fans, particularly after y'all lost.
Who's his agent? Who's his agent?
It is the same as Verlander. So he's not a Boris guy.
Okay.
Yeah. So there you go. You know what we all need a little bit more of? To get off our ass. With bold flavors and a refreshing citrus kick, Mountain Dew will have you getting off your ass and have you feeling like you're on an actual mountain. A mountain where the weather's always perfect, your friends are ready to hang, and a day of epic proportion awaits. I mean, just imagine being with Trevor Plouffe and Stafford and Clausen when Stafford's in the offseason, what they have in store. They go out and have a closest to the pin contest. They'll down a few Mountain Dews on their 18 holes as they're playing against one another, and they're having the time of their lives. You might not be able to roll like them financially, but you could have the same amount of fun and competition as they do. So go out and have a 3-point shooting contest. Go play pickleball with your friends. Go play blitzball. Go play kickball. Play any sort of ball with your friends. Why? Because the mountain is calling and you should answer. So grab your friends, grab an ice cold Mountain Dew wherever refreshing beverages are sold, and 3 words for you: do the do. All right, last one. We're going to be quick on this one. Blake Snell, as we all know, pretty high-priced free agent. Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic reporting that he recently met with Boston and the Dodgers, either has met or will meet with Baltimore and Toronto as well. Give me Snell's best fit, and do you think that's the same as the place he'll end up in?
I think the best fit is in Baltimore. He's shown that he could do it. Well, shoot, probably in the 2 toughest divisions, AL East and NL West.
Mm-hmm.
So put him back there. I just think that they need a bona fide ace at the front of the rotation. They got a taste of it last year with Corbin. They liked it. They need another one. They needed to have him back. So I think that's the best fit. Where he ends up, I think Boston's going to be really aggressive in the marketplace, and I think they're going to go get either him or Fried. So I think that's, if I had to put a percentage on it, I would say Boston probably leads my percentage of where he ends up, but Baltimore's a great fit.
I, too, agree that Baltimore is the perfect fit. I mean, who is their best left-handed pitcher right now? I mean, Trevor Rogers, they traded for him. They sent him down. Cade Povich, well, I mean, they need somebody, particularly if they lose Corbin Burns here. They could go the trade route, of course. I wouldn't put that past Mike Elias at all with all of those young position players that we think that they should be getting rid of a few to upgrade their pitching elsewhere. So, yes, Baltimore is the perfect fit. Dude, there are some guys that just don't feel East Coast at all, and I think he's one of them. I don't think his vibe plays in Boston or, heck, even in Baltimore for that matter, or in New York. I just don't see it. He's a different kind of dude. He's fun. He's great when you put him on the headset. I miss the days that he was down there in San Diego.
Do you remember when he was in our Instagram? This show used to be on Instagram Live, and the one guy that was always in our chat was Snellzilla, baby.
Yeah, and he's an acquired taste. I think
he's an acquired taste. No way, dude. People love this guy.
They do until he shows up and starts out of the gate by losing his first 3 starts and then injures his groin. Now, hold on.
Okay.
In San Francisco, where they're very, very good, knowledgeable baseball fans. They kind of have an East Coast feel to them, to be honest with you. But
San Francisco's an East Coast city on the West Coast, agreed.
And some of them were pissed off. If that had happened in New York or a Philly or a Boston, I think it would have set the entire season tumbling downhill for him.
Okay.
So I think actually a return to San Francisco is the best thing for him. I don't think it's the best thing for baseball. I think it's the best thing for him.
Okay, you didn't answer any of the questions. I think you answered where best fit, you said Baltimore, but where he's going to end up, you didn't answer that.
Okay, that part I didn't. I don't know.
Okay, that's fine. Sometimes you can say, I don't know.
I don't know where he's going to. I tried to put
who offers him the most money. That's the best answer to this.
Great, good for him. And I will I don't ever begrudge a guy for taking the most money. Dude, that's what it's about. Go get yours. Who cares?
Imagine, I think if you polled 100 people and said, hey, this job is going to pay you more than this job, I think 95% are going to take the job that pays more money.
I'll take the over.
Maybe more.
I'll take the over. This is always a ton of fun, these off-season episodes. We have so much to cover because it's only a couple times a week. But, when big things do happen, I want to remind people, somebody signs, we're hopping on here. We're going to go.
Oh, yeah.
We're going because we love that. So I don't think anything.
We love talking to each other.
Yes, we do. That's silly stuff too. But my guess is there's not a huge signing until the month of December, and then I hope things really speed up. But we'll see.
I told you quick. I know we're trying to wrap this up. I told Jake, if you're a GM, don't you use the holidays to your advantage and be like, hey, bro, don't you want to go into Thanksgiving or to Christmas, already having the bag? Be around your family, go take your vacation, know where you're going to play next year. I would fucking use that to my advantage. Not, hey, let's let's regroup after the holidays. Like, no, dude, let's get this done now so you can enjoy your offseason. I would point to guys signing late. I would point to having a full spring training. Use this. There is no timeline on free agency. There is in other sports, right? There's no timeline in free agency. This is like an artificial timeline.
No, there's no deadline in other sports.
Isn't it like a signing period in the NBA?
Well, you better get your money because there's a limited amount of it in football and basketball.
Yeah, so I don't know. Whatever. Use this timeline. Use the holidays to your advantage. Hey, front offices, hit me up. I'll give you more ideas.
Yeah, well, I would say that also from the player's standpoint. I know you're looking for as much leverage as possible. Maybe this is a different discussion for a different day, but
yeah.
I would put, if I were a good player, maybe not top of the line, but a good player that knew he was going to be making some money but didn't know exactly how much, I would want to be signed by Christmas.
Yeah, let's go.
By those holidays. I would say, okay, where are we by Thanksgiving? And then I would say, we got two weeks to get this done. I want to be in the right headspace. That's what I would say, but I'm not an athlete, so I don't know.
When I signed with Oakland, it was between Oakland and Boston, and I was like in my kitchen with like my dad and Olivia, and we're like deciding. Both were like about the same offer. Oakland ended up being a little bit more. Saying like, all right, and just knowing you're having all this money come to you. Oh my gosh, bro.
Yeah.
I'll never get that feeling again, I don't think.
That's not true. I've seen the John Boy, bonuses.
That's true. Hey, let's go, baby.
Let's go. All right. Shout out to our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke. That, of course, is the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. We will see you Monday here on Baseball Today.